Hey guys, it is your calorie queen here again, and today we are going to be talking about some surprising food swaps that you do that are actually not saving you a lot of calories. And without further ado, we're going to jump right in. So, number one are the common swaps that people do for rice. Now, some of the common alternatives that we do are couscous and quinoa. Like, I have to actually calm down, pronounce that thing. Okay, so firstly, for couscous, you guys know I like putting things in perspective with numbers. So a cup of cooked couscous is about 176 calories, and a cup of cooked white rice is 205. So you're not really saving much. But then you're probably asking, why is they now shout that couscous is healthy? Because it has significantly more fiber. So a cup of cooked white rice has just zero point 0.6 grams of fiber, while couscous has 2.2 grams, which is significantly higher than regular white rice. But not only that, the couscous usually comes a lot less processed than your white rice. White rice is really very much polished and processed, so any of the nutrients that it came with from the soil disappeared. But with the couscous, you still get some of that. And same thing with the quinoa. So with quinoa, in fact, the calories are even a little more than your regular white rice. A cup of cooked quinoa has 222 calories compared to the 205 of regular rice. But guess how much fiber? 5.2 grams of fiber. Let me check and make sure that that's right. Yep. 5.2 grams of fiber compared to 0.6 of regular rice. That is what makes it healthier. But the fact that it is healthier and has more fiber does not give you reason to eat as you like, okay? Another one I have to mention would definitely be basmati rice. That's one popular one. A cup of cooked basmati rice is just 190 calories compared to 205 of regular rice. It's just a 15 calorie difference. It's not going to change your life. Okay? And the thing as well is it doesn't even have significantly more fiber. In fact, fiber is the same thing. I call basmati rice fine rice because the only reason why I honestly cook it is because it is fine and it's long and looks nice when you cook it. That's the only reason. Although another reason why some people might find it healthier is diabetic patients, because it has a lower glycemic index than regular rice. So what do I mean by glycemic index? Glycemic index is simply the rate, like the speed at which your blood sugar rises when you eat something. So with basmati rice is a little lower than for regular rice. And so that means that when a diabetic person, or anybody really, eats basmati rice, the rate at which the blood sugar will rise is a little slower. The amount of carbs are about the same, but you experience a more steady rise in blood sugar, which is a good thing. But all in all, here's what I'll say. Please, if you cannot afford basmati, quinoa, couscous, eat your regular white rice. Just ensure that you're having with lots of fiber by the side to ensure that you're including, I say lots of fiber, lots of vegetables, so that you're including lots of fiber, and then that helps with the glycemic index I mentioned earlier. It helps your body, it slows down the absorption of the carbs, it makes it slower, more steady, and of course there's all the other nutrients and all the amazing things that come with the vegetables, okay? So don't feel obliged to buy the quinoas and all of that. So my next swap is going to be wheat bread for white bread. Now the situation here is very similar to the rice. A slice of wheat bread would get you around 70 calories. For white bread, between 80 to 90, up to 100 if it's the relatively big size, like the toast bread kind of size. Now, why do we then say, do wheat bread? It's because it has more fiber, not because it has more calories. The fact that you're having wheat bread does not mean you can have 10 slices. No. If you notice yourself, if you ate 2 slices of wheat bread and ate 2 slices of white bread, you will most likely be fuller on the wheat bread, and it is simply because it has more fiber. So the reason we're asking you to have more of that is because it has more fiber. And also, many of the nutrients, the natural nutrients in them is also retained compared to the white bread, where white bread is made from white flour, and that's a lot of processing that has gone on to make it white, to convert it into white flour. So that's for bread. Next up, yes, I really like this one, is going to be plantain, between unripe and ripe plantain. people, the calories are the same. Please don't say because I try to lose weight, you have to eat ripe plantain. If you love your ripe plantain, please feel free to have it. So you probably wonder then, what's the difference? Now, what happens between the process between plantain going from unripe to ripe? Now, the unripe one is filled with starch, that which is a complex carbohydrate. Now, as it ripens, that complex carbohydrate is being broken down into simpler sugars, which you can taste as being sweet when you eat the ripe plantain. So the more ripe it gets, the more sweeter, the more simple sugars are being produced, and the sweeter it becomes. Now, for somebody who is diabetic, they might want to do the more unripe version, which is still back to the reason that I mentioned earlier, so that because if it's complex, then to take more time for the body to digest it, and then the blood sugar will rise a little more steady than if it was very ripe, and then the blood sugar might shoot up. Okay? And in that case, what you want to do is include lots of vegetables. Same thing. But on a weight loss, from a weight loss perspective, there is no advantage to you doing unripe over ripe. Okay? Now, let's move on to sugar replacements. One of the common replacements for regular sugar is honey, date syrup. I gave nectar. I've heard so many things. Let's put it in numbers. So a teaspoon of your regular granulated sugar is 16 calories. And a teaspoon, 16, that's 1 and 6. And a teaspoon of honey is 21 calories, okay? So if you're running away from sugar and running to honey because you're trying to save calories, you are making a big mistake, because you are not. Okay, the same way you want to use little amounts of sugar, the same way you should be using little amounts of honey. Because it is honey, because it is natural, does not give you the excuse to drizzle as much as you like on your pancake or your tea or your pap or whatever it is that you're having. If you're looking for a low-calorie sweetener, buy a low-calorie sweetener. Go and get stevia or canderel or Splenda or something. Don't go to honey for that. You can have honey. I'm not saying you shouldn't have it. Maybe you like the flavor for whatever reason. That's completely fine. But if you're trying to do it from a calorie perspective, then you have definitely made the wrong choice, okay? Last on my list, this isn't necessarily a swap, but I just felt like it's kind of tied into what we're discussing today, is beans. Beans is one of the healthiest foods in the world. In fact, it's been called a superfood, but that doesn't mean you can have as much as you like. A cup of cooked beans has 250 calories. More than that. Well, actually more than rice. Rice is 205. For cooked beans is 250. But why is beans so healthy then? Because of the fiber. Like, a cup of cooked rice has just 0.6. Do you know how much is in beans? 15 grams. It's like mind-blowing how much fiber is in it. That's one of the reasons why it's a superfood. Like, there's no other grain that compares to it, and that's why when you eat beans as well, it's like super filling, and then there's like all the amazing nutrients that are in it. It's not like rice that is processed and polished. Beans comes to you naturally, so all the nutrients and stuff is still there, and fiber is just amazing. Okay, but calorie wise, you cannot be eating it anyhow. Okay, you still need to moderate the quantity. So I hope that I have made some sense today. I hope that I've opened your eyes to some of the mistakes that you might be making, and if you would like somebody to help you to figure all this stuff out so you can stop making all these mistakes and wasting time and causing yourself pain and frustration, ensure that you join us on the next Slay at Home program that is starting on Monday. Okay, I'm super excited for this new batch. We're about to change some people's lives. We're about to transform bodies, okay? And if you have questions about the program, if you have questions about anything I discussed today, leave it in the comments, send a DM, send a WhatsApp message. The group goes live on Saturday, so if you want to join us, ensure you send us a DM very, very soon. And I cannot wait for you to be our next success story. I cannot wait for you to become the best version of yourself. All right, guys, I will catch you next week. Bye for now.